Prime Minister expresses concern of being unfairly targeted by Integrity Commission.
The Prime Minister says he's not a director or shareholder of the company which is the subject of the report, and he does not own the property in question. Mr. Holness says he's puzzled as to why he's a subject of the report. Mr. Holness says it's concerning that the investigators ignored statements given by the KSAMC that they observed the development to be in structural conformity with the approved plan. He also expressed concern that the investigators ignored the statements of the persons involved that explained the works being undertaken and went to draw conclusions on construction work that was in progress. The Prime Minister says it seems more than coincidence that this report was submitted to Parliament a few days before the delivery of the judgment of the Supreme Court in a matter in which he is seeking judicial review of another report of the Integrity Commission.
Hello, my JPU family. Welcome to another episode of Jamaica Politics Uncovered. So the Integrity Commission of Jamaica just tabled its second report on the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Dr. Andrew Holness. I have never seen somebody investigated so much in my lifetime while they are in office. Investigation after investigation, and they have come up with nothing. And people can't accept the fact that they have nothing on the Prime Minister. They just cannot accept that fact. Now, you guys know that on this platform, we are about integrity in leadership, integrity in our Prime Minister. We strongly believe that over here. And we're not opposed to investigation where there's suspicion. But what is troubling in this matter is that the Integrity Commission is colluding, conspiring with the opposition to do this to the Prime Minister. And the operatives of the opposition, they're all colluding and conspiring to character assassinate the Prime Minister, to taunt him, to frustrate him, to overthrow him. That is the whole... It's so clear. You don't need prescription glasses to see it. If you were here yesterday, you would have heard Integrity Commission's report that was tabled in Parliament involving the Prime Minister at the center and his former business partner, Mr. Norman Brown. So this is not the first time that Mr. Norman Brown is being mentioned in a report in the Parliament in connection with the Prime Minister. So he was supposed to take the IC to court for challenge on the first report where he was mentioned. The mainstream media was all in a frenzy overnight because this was reported late yesterday after about 4 p.m. is when it was tabled. And then, of course, you have the mainstream media who put their stuff out. So I'm going to let you hear the response from Mr. Norman Brown and the Prime Minister overnight. So the IC alleges that company linked to Holness, his business partner, breach building law in townhouse construction. So in response, Mr. Brown said the directors of Estate Bridge Holdings Limited categorically reject the finding of the Integrity Commission's report that the development in question consisted of 4 bedrooms instead of 2. The development was the subject of several inspections by the KSAMC, which is the competent authority in law to determine room count and compliance. At no time did the KSAMC observe a breach in the room count. From the most recent inspection, it was confirmed by the KSAMC that the units consisted of 2 bedrooms, variations in size of areas, and a reconfiguration of layout, which normally occur during construction and does not materially change the building footprint, were noted and necessary application is in process. For context, the development is still under construction. At the time of both unannounced visits of the IC, They observed significant work being done to correct plumbing and other issues which involved the digging of walls and slabs to identify and reroute pipes. No valid conclusion could be drawn regarding rooms without observing final structural walls and the installation of doors and other amenities. Furthermore, we take note of the timing of the submission of this report to Parliament to coincide with Director Norman Brown's application for judicial review in the Supreme Court to challenge adverse comments and findings concerning himself and Estate Bridge in another report of the company, relying on hearsay, misrepresentation of facts, and spurious conclusions. The principals are law-abiding citizens who give service to Jamaica and will not be deterred by baseless allegations and bureaucratic overreach of an organization that is not the competent authority. Wow. This message went viral in WhatsApp last night. I received it after I ended our program. Now, here is what the Prime Minister's statement said last night. It says, having read the report of the Integrity Commission, I am concerned that I am being targeted. Firstly, I am not a director of the company, which is the subject of the report, and I am not a shareholder in the company, nor do I own the property in question. Therefore, it is a puzzle to me why I am a subject of this report. I have been informed that the development has been inspected by the competent authority, KSA-MC, which has confirmed that number of rooms approved are the number of rooms constructed. Based upon the report, it is of grave concern that the investigators would ignore the statements given by the KSA-MC, which is the competent authority, that they observed the development to be in structural conformity with the approved plan. It is also of concern that the investigators ignore the statements of the persons involved that explain the works being undertaken and went on to draw conclusions on construction work that was in progress. It seems more than coincidence that this report was submitted to Parliament a few days before the delivery of judgment of the Supreme Court in a matter in which I am seeking judicial review of another report of the Commission. The fact that a statutory entity would exercise its powers in such a manner is troubling. This transparent attempt to attack my reputation will not deter me from serving Jamaica, despite the Commission having not made conclusions or findings about me in the report, which was tabled in the House of Representatives on December 10, 2024. I have asked my lawyers to review the report and provide further advice. There was a press conference this morning where the media was present after the Wednesday cabinet meeting. This is what Senator and Information Minister Dana Dixon had to say.
Was very clear in his statement, and the report was tabled yesterday in the House. I have not had a chance to go through it, and so I know we'll be reviewing it throughout the course of the day. But the Prime Minister's statement was very clear. He said many things. He thought that this was a transparent attempt at attacking his character. He was very clear on that. And I know that we in the Cabinet, we stand with the Prime Minister on this matter. And these are definitely matters that are before the court. And so I try not to speak about matters that are before the court. But the Prime Minister in his statement was very clear that he was not a director, he's not a shareholder, and he doesn't own the property. That was very clear in his statement, and that is what I would like to be reported. I do note that there were some reports overnight that had said things different than that. And I note that this morning there are some editorial notes under some of those reports, which means that individuals are now clarifying previous reports that had been made. It is really important, especially when we're dealing with someone's integrity and character, that we get the stories right and that we don't issue statements that are not completely accurate. And I see the reports being corrected, and I'm very happy for that. And I thank members of the media who have been correcting their stories overnight. That's important. But the Prime Minister was very clear about his relationship with this company and his surprise that he would have been named in it. And as I said, we'll be reviewing the report and we'll make additional statements thereafter.
Here from CVM. Just a follow-up to that, Minister. Can the Prime Minister effectively lead when his name has been linked to so many adverse IC findings?
I think the Prime Minister can definitely lead, and if you see what is happening, he is leading. He's leading our country very well. As I started this post-cabinet press briefing, I spoke about our unemployment rate at record low. When we got to 5%, I thought it was record, and we weren't going to go any lower. Then we went to 4%. Then we went to 3.6% unemployment. That is unheard of in Jamaica. And all of these things that we've seen where we are lauded around the world for, especially in terms of our economy, that was all done under the leadership of the most honorable Dr. Andrew Holness. He is the one that has led us through COVID and led us beautifully through COVID. He is the one that has been steering us in terms of relooking the way we do infrastructure. When we look around our country, it looks completely different. If you ask any visitor who has not been to Jamaica for a while how they feel about Jamaica when they come here, they say it looks like a very different place, and it is a good thing. And that has been led, all of that has been led by our Prime Minister. And so this is an individual who has given his life to really supporting Jamaica in our dream of becoming a country that is seen as meeting its potential. That's what he has done. And so you may ask me, how do I feel about this? I personally feel really bad about what is happening. And I tell you why. Because I see someone who is working really hard, really, really hard for our country, and who I see his reputation being tarnished month after month after month. And what does he do? He gets up every day and he holds all of us in cabinet accountable. He tells us we're not doing enough. You have to do more. And Minister Williams is here and she knows it. He keeps pushing us. Our country needs you to do more. And so this is someone who I admire. And this is someone who I would love to see more leaders like this in our country going forward. Leaders who are thinking big. Leaders who, in spite of any challenges, whether it's personal challenges to them or challenges to our country like a pandemic, get up and lead us well. And he has been doing that in spite of everything that has been thrown at him. And that says a lot about him and about his commitment to our country.
What a desperate and sad situation. Anyway, guys, I don't know if you all remember in 2020 when Mark Golding got the presidency of the PNP, and he took probably a couple $100,000 to go buy some blocks and some steel to put up this little 4x2 house when they promised the PNP workers, them the 2,500 PNP workers. So he started doing this without going through the proper procedure. No permit, no nothing. And there was a stop order, a clear breach of the building code. Why didn't this make it to Parliament for tabling and investigation, and where the money came from? Do you see what is happening here, guys?
The dickens are going here, so. What the dickens this? Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, no.
Somebody needs to tell us why the Integrity Commission did not get involved in this one. The Integrity Commission of Jamaica in collusion with the PNP, a relentless pursuit to gotcha. Investigation after investigation after investigation into the Prime Minister of Jamaica. And even when they come up with nothing. Guys, listen to what this lady has to say.
The corruption prosecution has ruled the matter is finished. The Director of Investigation, however, in the course of the investigation, can perform his functions in cooperation with another body. So were the investigation still an ensuing investigation, if he deemed it appropriate, he could cooperate with another body to further his investigation.
And it was...
But once the investigation is complete, Turner, and he has tabled a report, he has sent the report to the DCP, the matter is finished. He cannot decide that he has done all of this work, but he hasn't found what he's looking for, and therefore decide, well, he's going to do it again. And I want you to understand the concept of that, and I want my Jamaican people to understand the concept of that. When you go to court and you're charged with a crime, the prosecution has the burden of proof. They have the job to convince the judge that you ought to be convicted. If they cannot meet the evidentiary burden to do that, the judge's duty is to discharge the defendant. The Director of Corruption Prosecution has discharged the Prime Minister in this matter. Our jurisprudence does not allow the Director of Investigations to continue to pursue a matter into perpetuity because he's not satisfied that with all of his resources, with all of the money spent, with all of the witness statements that he procured, with all of the persons that he spoke to in this investigation, that with having done all of that and not finding anything that can commit the Prime Minister to prosecution, that he can just continue to do it until he finds something in 2029. That is not the principle of our legal jurisprudence. The Prime Minister has been taken to task. He has been investigated, interrogated. The matter is over. The DI has not found anything that is worthy of prosecution. So says the Director of Corruption Prosecution. I will answer again by reading the law that we are all required to observe. 54 says, on completion of an investigation the Director of Investigation shall prepare and submit to the Commission through the Executive Director a report of his findings and recommendations. He has to do that. The Commission then has the job of ensuring the report is tabled in Parliament, and they do that under section, I believe it's section 36.
Meanwhile, in other news, guys, the Gleaner workers are on strike. No money, no work.
Okay! All right.
My name is Saint Patrice Ennis. I am the General Secretary of the Union of Technical, Administrative and Supervisory Personnel, UTAS, which represents certain categories of workers here at Gleaner. What you are now seeing is that workers have embarked on protest action in furtherance of their calls to have payment of retroactive salaries and improved wages begin and made in the December pay cycle. We have just concluded our negotiation for the 23 to 24, 24 to 25 contract period. At no point during the negotiations did the company indicate or even hint that they had any difficulty in making these payments in the December pay cycle. We were all under the impression that people would be paid in December, and we, as a consequence, made a lot of compromises. We left a lot of things on the table in order to meet the pay cycle and to meet the deadline before the payroll could be closed or would have been closed. The company have not informed me formally. They have indicated to our delegates and chief delegate that they will not be making the payment of the improved wages and the retroactive amounts. And even worse, they have given no indication as to when such payment will be made. That is what has drawn the ire of the workers, and this is what you now see. They have now, since morning, been protesting to demand that the payment be made in the December pay cycle.
Keep it locked here to Jamaica Politics Uncovered, guys. Make sure you're subscribed, you have your notification on, and you're joining our live broadcast. Hit up the like button, guys, and make sure you're sharing our content. Leave a comment to let us know what you think. Take care. Until next time, thank you for watching.